On a rainy day in rural Japan, Ichigo sees a girl in a white dress by the riverside while walking home with her mother. Curious about why the girl is there alone, she runs over to her. Her mother shouts after her, trying to stop her, but the girl suddenly turns around and Ichigo faints. When she wakes up, she sees that her mother is mortally wounded. The woman was attacked by that mysterious girl while trying to protect her son. That girl is actually a vengeful spirit. Years later, Ichigo grows into a young man. He has gotten used to his ability to see spirits and has started helping them. One evening, when he comes home from school, he sees a strange woman in his room. The woman is a soul reaper named Rukia. Rukia is surprised that Ichigo can see her. At that moment, Rukia senses a dark presence approaching. Ichigo immediately runs downstairs to his family. He finds his sister terrified, and then the walls explode and collapse as a gigantic hand grabs his sister. Right before Ichigo's eyes, she is dragged away. Ichigo rushes outside to save his sister, but a giant monster appears before him. Unable to do anything, he is knocked to the ground with a single blow. At that moment, Rukia attacks, slashing the creature with her sword and causing the little girl to fall onto Ichigo. Rukia explains that this creature is an evil spirit called a hollow, and that it was drawn here because of Ichigo's high spiritual power. Before they can finish talking, the creature attacks again. It hurls its head and charges at Rukia. The woman deflects the attack but falls heavily to the ground. As she tries to fight back, the hollow grabs her and begins gathering energy in its mouth. Rukia uses a spell to free herself, flinging the creature into the air, but she herself lands on top of a car. Ichigo runs over to her and sees that Rukia is seriously injured. The woman says that the only way to survive is to transfer her Soul Reaper powers to Ichigo. She must pierce him with her sword. Seeing the creature attack again, Ichigo realizes there's no other choice and agrees. Rukia pierces him with her sword and transfers her power. Just as the creature launches its attack, Ichigo suddenly appears. Now he too is a Soul Reaper. With a single blow, he severs the creature's arm. Although the hollow attacks in rage, Ichigo slices it in half and the creature disappears. The next morning, Ichigo thinks it was all just a dream. But when he sees the huge hole in the wall, he realizes everything was real. His family, on the other hand, thinks the noise last night was caused by a truck accident. Ichigo is stunned when he gets to school. Rukia is in the classroom, disguised as a new student. Rukia pulls him aside. She warns him that she'll kill him if he talks. Then she gives an explanation. She can no longer return to the Soul Society because she accidentally transferred all her power to Ichigo. Unless she gets her power back, she won't be able to fight any hollows and will be trapped in this world. Rukia puts on a special glove, lunges at Ichigo, and separates his soul from his body. She gives him her massive sword and asks him to transfer the power back to her. However, the ritual fails. Ichigo's spiritual energy is so strong that it prevents the transfer. The only way to get her power back is for Ichigo to become stronger through training. Otherwise, his body won't be able to withstand the process. But Ichigo objects to this idea. All he wants is to return to his normal life. That evening, when he returns home, he finds Rukia in his closet. She says she has nowhere else to go and decides to stay there. Ichigo asks her to get out. But Rukia refuses and tells him he needs to accept his fate. Just then, his father comes in. He heard a woman's voice. He punches his son and opens the closet, but there's no one inside. His father scolds him, tells him not to bring women home, and complains about the expenses of having children. The next day, Rukia begins to train Ichigo. However, Ichigo can't even hold the sword properly. Rukia gives him a wooden sword and starts teaching him kendo, but Ichigo just swings the sword around randomly and can't land a single hit. Meanwhile, Renji, a red-haired Soul Reaper, informs his captain Byakuya that they've lost track of Rukia. Rukia's spiritual energy has completely disappeared. This means she has transferred her power to someone else. Byakuya orders Renji to find her because giving a Soul Reaper's power to a mortal is a serious crime. While returning from school at night, Ichigo senses that someone is following him. He calls out, telling them to show themselves. Renji is surprised. He realizes that a human can see him. He asks for Rukia's whereabouts, but Ichigo pretends not to know in order to protect her. Renji gets angry, draws his sword, and attacks. At that moment, an arrow flies past over Renji's head from the sky. Renji stops his attack and pulls back. This gives Ichigo a chance to escape. Ichigo returns home and tells Rukia what happened. He asks who the other Soul Reaper is. But Rukia only says one thing. Continue your training. Otherwise, they will definitely kill you. The next day, Ichigo meets a man with glasses. His name is Ishida, and he also knows that Ichigo is a Soul Reaper. The man says that, just like Ichigo, he also has special powers, because he is a descendant of a clan called Kunshi. This clan was almost completely wiped out by the Soul Reapers. To show his power, Ishida forms a bow from his spiritual energy and reveals that he was the one who saved Ichigo last night. Then they went to Izmir to take revenge for his clan. He challenges Ichigo, but Ichigo refuses his offer to fight. In response, Ishida prepares a special bait to lure out the hollows in the city. Rukia senses that evil spirits are approaching and comes to Ichigo. She turns him back into a Soul Reaper because he is the only one who can protect the innocents in the city. When they arrive at the park, Ichigo sees the soul of a child he had previously saved being chased by a hollow that looks like a giant spider. He draws his sword and attacks, but the creature is too fast. Ichigo's strikes miss. He is forced to keep dodging, and he quickly becomes exhausted. The hollow throws him into the air and he crashes to the ground. Just as it's about to deliver the killing blow, the creature is suddenly split in two. The person who arrives is Renji. Renji quickly turns to Ichigo, moving with incredible speed and pressing his sword to Ichigo's neck. Although Ichigo tries to resist, Renji hurls him into a tree with a single blow and incapacitates him with a kick to the face. Just as he's about to deliver the final blow, Rukia intervenes. She tells him to stop, but her words only make Renji even angrier. He can't understand why she would protect a human. At that moment, Captain Byakuya emerges from the darkness. He turns to Rukia and says that he is her brother. He orders his sister to take back the power from Ichigo and, if necessary, to kill him. However, Rukia refuses. She cannot accept killing an innocent human, because she was the one who dragged Ichigo into this situation. Seeing his sister's stubbornness, Byakuya gives her a chance. If she doesn't take back his power by the next full moon, they will kill Ichigo themselves. Rukia immediately returns Ichigo to his human body and treats his wounds with special herbs. But Ichigo is hopeless. The difference in power between them is too great, and now he doesn't know what to do. Over time, Rukia realizes that Ichigo will never truly be ready. Especially after the wounds he received in the last battle, she comes up with a risky plan. She goes to her brother Byakuya and offers him a deal. Ichigo will be used as bait so that the giant hollow called Grand Fisher will appear. Rukia promises that she will kill this creature with her own hands and atone for the crime she committed, and she asks her brother to spare Ichigo's life. However, Byakuya refuses his sister's request and questions her loyalty. Renji also gets angry at Rukia, saying that Ichigo isn't even worth saving. At that moment, Ichigo appears. He has followed Rukia. He asks them to stop arguing. He says he will kill Grand Fisher himself, and his only condition is Rukia's freedom. Renji wants to attack, but Byakuya stops him and accepts the deal. Because he thinks Ichigo will die in this fight, Ichigo and Rukia begin intense training. This time, Ichigo is truly determined. He wants to protect Rukia and prove himself. He makes great progress in a short time, learning to control his spiritual energy and use it as a weapon. Following the tracks, they find Grand Fisher. The creature transforms into the little girl who killed Ichigo's mother. So they are actually the same being. Ichigo, enraged, transforms into a Soul Reaper, cuts off the creature's tendrils with his sword, and stabs it in the heart. But suddenly, he sees an image of his mother. He thinks his attack has hurt her. This is an illusion created by the hollow. Rukia intervenes just in time and saves Ichigo from a deadly attack. The creature assumes its true form. It transforms into a gigantic, terrifying monster. Ichigo attacks in a rage to avenge his mother. The battle moves to the city center. Grand Fisher destroys everything in its path, shattering buildings and tossing people aside. With every move, it causes massive destruction in the city. Ichigo runs with all his might to escape the creature's attacks, but the giant tentacles don't let up. Eventually, he gets caught and the creature tries to crush him with its claws. At that moment, an arrow comes from above and pierces the creature, saving Ichigo. When he looks in the direction the arrow came from, he sees Ishida. Now he's fighting alongside them too. Ishida dodges the attacks with agile movements, firing arrows made of spiritual energy one after another. However, the hollow easily deflects them. At that moment, Ichigo seizes the opportunity, lunges forward, and delivers a deep slash with his sword as he passes under the creature. But instead of injuring the creature, this attack only makes it angrier. It lets out a scream that shakes the sky and a giant whirlwind forms around them. The whirlwind tosses Ichigo and Ishida aside. Ichigo takes shelter in a bus to protect himself from the wind. However, the creature finds him and attacks from outside. With its massive claws, it grabs the bus and lifts it into the air. At that moment, Ishida takes aim at the creature's eye and fires an arrow. The arrow hits its mark and the hollow roars in pain, going berserk. As the creature furiously tears the bus apart, Ichigo seizes the opportunity. He leaps from above and drives his sword into the creature's head. This blow, which splits its head in two, allows him to avenge his mother. The hollow screams in pain, collapses to the ground, and disappears. Rukia immediately runs to Ichigo's side to check if he's okay. Ichigo, exhausted but smiling, responds to her concern. Just when everything seems to be over, Renji suddenly appears and stabs Ishida from behind. Despite the agreement, he has come to kill Ichigo. Byakuya also appears and gives Rukia one last chance, telling her to kill Ichigo. He says that a Soul Reaper must never befriend a human. However, despite her brother's pressure, Rukia refuses to kill Ichigo. Her stubbornness enrages Byakuya, and he orders Renji to destroy them both. Renji quickly attacks Ichigo. Ichigo has to protect both himself and Rukia, but Renji's attacks are lethally fast. Ichigo remains constantly on the defensive and eventually is thrown between the cars by a powerful blow. However, he can now see Renji's movements. This finally puts them on equal footing for the first time. Ichigo recovers and goes on the attack again. The two clash with a series of sword strikes. While Ichigo stays on the defensive, Renji's strength puts him under pressure. Renji lands another powerful blow, but this time Ichigo counters, pushes him back and staggers him with a kick. Renji gets up angrily and sends Ichigo flying with a strong strike. Then, to show his true power, he releases his sword Zabemaru into its second form. He hurls his chained, snake-like weapon at Ichigo. Ichigo tries to dodge with all his might, but escaping the attack is nearly impossible. Renji finally catches him, tosses him like a ragdoll and slams him into a pile of cars. Immediately after, he grabs a huge vehicle and throws it at Ichigo. The explosion engulfs everything in flames. As Renji turns to Rukia to deliver the final blow, Ichigo emerges from the flames. Everyone is stunned. Ichigo stands tall and speaks with determination. "I won't go down that easily." Then he quickly attacks Renji, parries his blows, and shatters his sword in a single strike. Seeing his man defeated, Byakuya steps forward and orders Renji to fall back. Ichigo runs toward the captain to protect Rukia and swings his sword. But Byakuya suddenly vanishes, reappears behind him, and stops Ichigo's sword with just 2 fingers. Ichigo attacks again, but the captain moves with incredible speed. With his sword, he slashes Ichigo's abdomen. Ichigo collapses to the ground. Before Byakuya can walk away, Ichigo stands up one last time, raises his sword, but the captain instantly counters again and knocks him down. But Ichigo gets up again, grabs the captain's arm, and out of breath says, "This isn't over." Byakuya gives in to his anger. This time he decides to kill Ichigo with his own hands. Just as he raises his sword, Rukia steps in. She pulls Ichigo away, acting as if he is a worthless human in order to save him. She strikes him across the face. She doesn't let him get up. Even though she tries to appear calm, her eyes are filled with tears. When she says she's tired of him, she's actually protecting him. Rukia turns to her brother and says she will surrender. She states that she will return to the Soul Society and accept the punishment for what she has done. There is no longer any need for anyone else to die. Then she takes Ichigo's sword, presses the tip to her chest, and plunges it into her own body. In this way, she takes back all of Ichigo's power. Suddenly, everything turns completely white. The next morning, Ichigo wakes up. He no longer has any wounds. It's as if everything that happened was just a dream. He goes to school, sees his friends, but feels an emptiness inside. He sits at his desk and opens his notebook. In the corner of the page, Rukia's handwriting remains. Ichigo smiles slightly. Rukia is gone now, but the traces she left behind are still there.